Okay, the presentation was actually put together by Daniel Sanchez, which is our technical coordinator at PEP, and he will be joining later on the Q&A. And I'm Joaquin Ruiz, and I'll be delivering the presentation. I'm gonna switch off the camera so I can see the whole screen, and that would be this. Okay, fine. So I want to put into context the work that PEP is doing by explaining what is PEP. And obviously, we are the iPHA affiliate member in Spain. We are a non-profit organization, and I think that delivers a powerful and a non-biased message to the public administration in our country. As I said, we have 3 permanent technical staff, which are Daniel, Rosalia, and Laura, which are the core of PEP. They make all the things we do possible. But also we are made of 700 affiliate individuals and 48 affiliate companies. We work with more than 20 partner organizations, and thanks to our 23 sponsors, we are able to do the work and deliver the message. But also we are organized by board members, which are 10 board members, which we elect countrywide between our affiliates, our person affiliates, annually, and also 15 regional delegates that are also elected locally every year between the affiliates of the region. And as Adelina Uriarte, our former president, used to say, the fact that we are all volunteers, all the board members and regional delegates are volunteers, it delivers a powerful message to the administration, to everyone on the audience, because it shows there are people willing to leave their jobs aside for a considerable number of hours every month to get this Passivhaus message that we're enthusiasts. So I think it makes an impact on the audience. I'm going to talk briefly about 5 projects of social housing that have been undergone in Spain, mostly in the north. And I think they illustrate the work the PEP is doing towards a more sustainable and fair housing market. The first one is located in Navarra, and then we'll move to an Enerfit project in Aragon. We'll talk about a project in Asturias, the first one there. Obviously, we'll talk about Bolueta in Bilbao, in the Basque region. And lastly, a small building in Madrid, also for public housing. The first one, as I said, is in Navarra. And I think this was the kickstart of social housing projects in Spain, because it showed how we could make a partnership between PEP and the regional governments, which at the time was led by Usue Barcos. They had issues with their housing stock. They had some problems, but didn't know exactly what to do with them. So at that point, PEP offered them free advice, and we made we gave them energy data and maintenance cost studies towards their housing projects. And in 2015, Nasubinsa, which is the public company that builds social housing in Navarra, in the whole region, they had tendered various projects, but they had 4,000 rental applicants, so they have a long queue, and also had troubles with rental arrears, because many tenants had to choose between paying rent or paying their heating bills. And that led to obviously energy poverty issues and also pathologies and health issues on this population. And it also had implications on maintenance and repair costs for Nasubinsa, because Nasubinsa not only builds the houses, but they also manage them. So we work with them, and they offered a public tender on just before the 8th Passivhaus conference, where we delivered this message on 3 different scenarios, obviously to the professionals, architects, engineers, to builders, but also we shifted slightly towards a more social message So the general public was aware of what Passivhaus is and what the benefits are, and particularly to the institutions. We work very closely with many governments to show them that Passivhaus was possible and was feasible. And at the Pamplona conference, we could show them that. We had at the Pamplona conference, we had the implication of the Navarra government and Nasubinsa, where we had a couple of key players giving speeches about this pilot project that they were delivering. And we also invited other governments so they could actually see what was done and that it was possible. The key issue on this project is more than 500 social rented units that was delivered in 3 phases. The key issue is that being Passivhaus, it made possible to secure a 50% investment from the European Investment Bank. That was done through a feasibility report, and because it showed that Passivhaus had lower levels of rent arrears because their tenants didn't have to face with high heating bills. So it showed that it was a success, and Nasubinsa had this plan to deliver all these units. 2 of these have been already finished and the other ones are underway in 2021. But the most important thing was that it showed that it could be delivered, constructed under 800 euros per square meter, which is actually very, very low, even compared to traditional housing in Navarra. So it showed that was possible. It showed that was possible. And I think this was a turning point for other administrations when we saw the Navarra government doing this and delivering these projects at these prices. They thought, oh, maybe I could do it. And that's where it actually avalanched with other regions. This is the first one that was finished and is occupied and certified, and the other ones that are coming. Later on the 9th Spanish conference, we moved to Seville, which is a warm climate, but still we continued our work with governments. We kept our 3 messages very clear, and we invited, for example, the government of Asturias, which is located in the north of Spain. There was already some work done by the PEP delegate in Asturias and other PEP members. They invited the principal of the government and some technicians. They came to the conference in Seville. They saw what was going on and that was possible. And they made a leap of faith and decided to take one of the projects they had. They saw, for example, this project that was done in Seville for a public energy retrofit of a historic building. But as I said, they took the leap and they took one of the projects they had already tendered through the normal building regulations, the Spanish building regulations. They took it and they decided to convert it to Passivhaus. The important thing that PEP did on this project is that the contract was originally appealed because it was claimed that there were not enough technicians and companies able to build Passivhauses in Asturias. But thanks to the advice of PEP, we showed them that it was possible and they got a favorable resolution. And then the project has just been recently finished and it actually looks very nice. And it's going to be monitored for the government of Asturias to actually gain data for future projects. Then on the Zaragoza conference, again, we had already worked with the Zaragoza government and the city council. We invited them to the conference and they actually deliver also speeches and they gave presentations about the project that they had already underway, which were a couple of pilot studies on energy retrofits in South Aragon. They had 2 small buildings, decided to try for the first time with this Passivhaus standard. And then when they saw it was successful, they moved to bigger scale projects in North Aragon. and now they're also in Zaragoza underway. These are the two buildings that were finished, the first ones, the already occupied, and it showed again that the government had a slightly bigger investment on the original Enerfit compared to a traditional building regs retrofit, but the maintenance costs were 96% lower on energy bills. So it was decided it was actually worth it, and that made them promote other buildings with the same standard. Same thing happened with Zaragoza Vivienda, which is only for the city of Zaragoza. They also tender 180 dwellings, again to be built to Passivhaus standard. These are new build, divided into three phases, and they're already tendered and underway. We move now from Zaragoza to the Basque country, to the País Vasco, where Visesa, which is again the public company that builds and runs all the public housing projects in the País Vasco, they had a relatively old project, which I think it was actually previous to the 2008 crisis. These are the Bolueta Towers, which intended to recover an abandoned site in Bilbao. It was actually a very interesting project that had already been awarded or catalogued as best by the UN. They had to deliver 1,100 units, most of them as social housing, and it had district heating as a key feature. But because of this crisis and the economic problems they were facing, it had to be removed. And one of the PEP members advised them to move the project towards Passivhaus, and so they could keep the gains from being best. Actually, that was successful, and the first tower has already been finished and occupied with 171 dwellings, part of them socially rented, part of them at a reduced market price. The second tower is underway at the moment. And again, the key thing is the economic feasibility study that was carried out for Visesa, which actually showed that only with a small 3% additional investment, you could deliver these projects to Passivhaus standard. But on the other hand, the savings on maintenance were almost 60,000 euros only for the first tower. So that would multiply on the next towers. So it showed that was clearly worth it for Visesa. And the last project is for EMBS, which is the equivalent of Visesa or Zaragoza Vivienda, which is the council company that builds social housing in Madrid. Again, this shows they had an old project that was done to building regs standard, but again, a member of PEP advocated very, very powerfully for years to convert the project to Passivhaus, and he actually managed to do that when the structure of the building was already underway. So the technical team had to face challenges to convert the project and take care of all the thermal breaches and all the issues that were not thought at the beginning of the project, but they managed to overcome the problems. And again, only with a 6% additional investment and large saving costs later on the lifetime of the building. And just to sum up, I want to talk quickly about the work that PEP is doing at all levels. And I think it's important the work we do on all these key aspects. The first one is we provide advice to all the public administration, to key players, architects, engineers, directors, government officials, and we also provide project consultancy in some small projects some administrations whose technicians are not trained to do so, we give them this free consultancy so they could move on with these projects, and also advise them on all the tenders for the specifications to achieve the Passivhaus standard, as we have done on the more than 500 units in Navarra, the units in Asturias, in Aragon. We've done the same for libraries that the Architects Board in Madrid had tendered, also for nurseries, education centers, and so on. And also we cover a small gap where we have funds available. We direct the administrations to obviously the official Passivhaus course providers, so they could train their technicians, as we have done in some instances. But there are places where the administration is very reluctant to spend too much money on their staff training. So we give them an introductory training, at least, so they're able to have tools and assess and validate Passivhaus projects which they have undergone or they want to promote. And we do this small training for them. And also we lobby, we advise, both at national and regional level, the new legislation, as we have done recently with the Código Técnico. We have successfully influenced the changes towards more sustainable buildings. Also for education centers, for the Climate Change Act that has recently been going on, sustainability plans around all regions. And we try to offer our point of view and contribute as much as possible to this legislation. And that's, in a nutshell, the work that PEP is doing towards achieving more and more social housing that is sustainable and is comfortable for the occupants. And that will be all.